Hello everyone. There are moments when the past returns not quietly, but like a storm that shakes every hidden corner of the heart, a secret that can be mended or broken. Tu Diem has come back, carrying with her both the light of hope and the shadows of pain. Her return is not just a reunion, is a test of love, of trust, and of destiny. Will the bonds once broken be healed, or will the storm she brings wash everything away? The evening sky was heavy with restless clouds, as though the heavens themselves were preparing for a revelation long delayed. In that fragile twilight, the footsteps of Tu Diem echoed like the return of a forgotten melody. She had once disappeared into silence, carrying with her the weight of betrayal, fear, and an unspoken secret that could either heal hearts or shatter them completely. When Toan first saw her again, his breath caught in his chest. For weeks he had searched, wandering between despair and hope, clinging to the memory of the girl who had saved his life, yet vanished from his reach. And now, here she stood, her frame thinner, her eyes shadowed by sorrow, but still burning with a quiet strength that refused to be broken. Toan, her voice trembled, not from weakness, but from the storm within her heart. She knew that her return would not be simple. Behind her lay a past she wished to escape, a family who had once treated her as a possession, and a truth she could no longer hide. Ahead of her stood a man who had risked everything, his wealth, his peace, his very safety, to protect her. For a moment, silence stretched between them. Toan longed to take her hands, to shield her from the cruelty of the world. But he could see it in her eyes. The secret she carried was one that could bind them closer than ever, or tear them apart forever. "Why did you leave me?" he asked, his voice heavy with the ache of sleepless nights. Tu Diem lowered her gaze, fighting back tears. "Because love alone cannot erase the chains of the past. I was afraid that if you knew everything, you would turn away from me." The storm broke above them, rain pouring like an echo of her confession. But Toan did not move away. Instead, he stepped closer, his words steady despite the thunder's roar. "Even if the truth hurts, Diem, it cannot destroy what is real between us. You saved me, not only my life, but the man I am. And I will not let fear steal you from me again." Her secret trembled on her lips, the kind that could alter destinies. She had to choose: reveal it and risk losing his love, or keep it buried and risk losing herself. Hope and storms now stood side by side, and as the rain soaked them, Tu Diem realized that her return was not the end of her journey. It was only the beginning of a battle between truth and fear, between healing and breaking, between love's promise and love's test. The night after Tu Diem's sudden return was heavy with questions that no one dared to ask out loud. Toan paced his study restlessly, his mind torn between the warmth of hope and the shadows of fear. He had longed for this moment, her return, but now that it had come, it was not the gentle homecoming he had imagined. Tu Diem sat quietly in the guest room, her eyes drifting toward the flickering candlelight. There was something different in her gaze, something that carried both strength and sorrow. She had survived storms no one else could see, and those storms still lingered in her silence. When Toan finally entered, he stood by the door for a moment, afraid that if he moved closer, she might vanish again. His voice trembled as he spoke. "Diem, why did you come back now?" She lifted her eyes to him, her lips parting with a sigh that carried more weight than words. "Because I realized running forever would not heal me, and because no matter how far I went, my heart never left you." Toan's chest tightened. Yet even as relief washed over him, doubt returned. He had enemies, people who would use her against him. He feared that her return, while a blessing, would also ignite storms that could consume them both. Then stay, he whispered. Stay, and let us face it all together. Tu Diem looked away, her hands clutching the edge of her scarf. But your mother still despises me. Your enemies still want to see you ruined. And me, I carry a past that can destroy everything you've built. Her words cut deep, but Toan's resolve only grew stronger. He walked closer, knelt before her, and gently took her trembling hands. Diem, no secret can break us if we choose to mend it together. But if we let fear decide for us, then we've already lost. Tears welled in her eyes, but for the first time, there was also a glimmer of hope. In that fragile moment, both of them realized that love was not about perfection, it was about choosing to stand together, even in the storm. Outside, thunder rolled across the sky, echoing the turmoil within their hearts. But inside that small room, a fragile promise was made. No matter how violent the storm, they would not face it alone. The storm outside mirrored the storm inside Toan's heart. When Diem finally spoke, her words were soft, almost trembling, but they struck deeper than any blade. Toan, I didn't want to leave you. I was scared. Scared of what your family might do to me, scared of bringing more trouble into your life. But most of all, I was scared that I wasn't worthy of standing beside you. Toan's chest tightened. He wanted to take her hands, to pull her close, to erase the pain that lingered in her eyes. Yet he stayed still, afraid that the wrong move would cause her to retreat again. Diem, he whispered, his voice breaking, don't you see? You are the one who gave me strength when I was lost. Without you, none of this, my work, my family, even my own life would matter. You are not a burden. You are the reason I fight. Her eyes filled with tears, but she did not look away this time. For the first time, she allowed his words to settle in her heart instead of pushing them aside. Yet just as hope flickered between them, the sound of footsteps echoed in the hallway. The door burst open, and Toan's mother stood there, her face pale with shock and fury. You? She shouted, her voice shaking. How dare you come back here, after all the disgrace you brought to this house? The fragile warmth between Toan and Diem shattered instantly. Diem stepped back, her hands trembling. Toan rose, his eyes blazing with defiance as he faced his mother. Enough, mother, he said firmly. If you cannot see her worth, then you will see mine. Because wherever Diem goes, I will follow, even if it means losing everything. The silence that followed was heavy, suffocating. Diem's heart pounded. She had returned seeking hope, but instead, she had ignited the storm she feared most. But this time, she was no longer the weak girl who ran away. She lifted her chin, her voice steady, though her body trembled. I will not hide anymore. If I am to stay, it must be with truth. If I am to leave, it must be with dignity. The room seemed to freeze, every breath caught between love, fear, and an unspoken truth waiting to explode. Would Toan's mother yield, or would this secret tear everything apart again? The night deepened, and the house of Toan seemed caught between silence and unspoken tension. Tu Diem sat by the window, her delicate hands resting on her lap as she gazed into the darkness. She had returned, yet her heart still trembled like a fragile bird, afraid of being caged again. Toan watched her quietly from the doorway, torn between wanting to protect her and fearing that his own family's shadow would drive her away once more. Diem Toan finally spoke, his voice calm but weighted with emotion. I know the road back here wasn't easy. You carry wounds that I may never fully understand, but I promise you one thing this time, you are not alone. Tu Diem turned, her eyes glistening. She wanted to believe him, to surrender her fear to his strength, Yet memories of betrayal still haunted her. "Toan," she whispered, her voice trembling, "can love survive when secrets threaten to break it apart?" Toan stepped closer, his hand gently brushing hers. "Love is not about the absence of storms, Diem. It is about standing together in the middle of them." At that moment, Toan's mother entered the room. Her face carried both sternness and concern, as if she too was struggling with her own battle. For the first time, she softened her tone toward Tu Diem. "If you are to stay here," she said, "then prove that your heart is true. My son's future is fragile, and I cannot bear to see him fall." The air grew heavy. Tu Diem lowered her eyes, torn between proving her worth and fearing rejection. But within her, a quiet strength stirred. She had survived hunger, betrayal, and despair. She would not let her story end in silence. "I will not run anymore," she said firmly, raising her head. "If storms must come, then let them come. I will stand by Toan." Her words carried power, enough to shift the air in the room. Toan's eyes softened with pride and relief, while his mother, though hesitant, saw for the first time a glimpse of the courage that might truly protect her son. Yet even as warmth filled the room, far beyond the walls of the house, danger was already moving. The ones who had once harmed Tu Diem were not willing to let her go. The hope of a new beginning had arrived, but so had the storms. Every story carries a hidden message, and the return of Tu Diem is no exception. Her journey reminds us that life is not only about what we endure, but also about how we choose to rise after storms. Toan and Tu Diem's reunion is more than a tale of love. It is a lesson about trust, forgiveness, and the fragile nature of human bonds. When Tu Diem came back, she carried with her both hope and pain. Her scars spoke of betrayal and injustice, yet her presence was also proof that strength grows from suffering. Toan's decision to protect her revealed the essence of true love, not possession, but the willingness to stand by someone even when the world doubts them. The story also teaches us that secrets can either destroy or heal. A secret kept in fear may break trust, but one shared with honesty may restore it. What matters most is courage, the courage to speak, to listen, and to forgive. Without forgiveness, wounds remain open. With it, hearts can mend and futures can be rebuilt.